consider that the intro to the video, removing the backer board. That was Hardy backer. Most of them were full pieces, so that's kind of nice. I'll reuse that somewhere where I need it. Ended up deciding to do a fiberglass shower surround. There's the back of it, and that is sort of the topic of what I'm talking about this second. I had that temporarily sat in place and discovered that the tub was not level. It was sitting flat on the floor, but the floor is out of level, so the tub is out of level. It was way too low on this side, so when you put the shower surround in, if you wanted that shower surround sitting down in the tub, it was pulling away from the wall here and hitting the wall there and coming off. So basically it was getting racked in the opening. And if you leveled the top of the shower surround, you were about 3/4 off up on this side and slammed down on the tub on this side. So I undid the tub and I re-leveled the ledger that the back of the tub sits on, shimmed this front edge. Now the tub is level, but then they have this problem now. The tub is flexing. Even though it's on there and it's shimmed and I could shim across this, the bottom of this tub is flexing. It's a steel enamel tub. So I think I need to do a bedding compound on this. It has a styrofoam pad underneath of it, so that will insulate the mortar from the tub and give a solid base. Lowe's is closed, so I can't do that tonight, unfortunately. But the other issue I have is this wall is not plumb. So if I pull my level to right there's roughly plumb, so I'm almost 1 inch out on a 4-foot level, so that's a problem for the shower surround. If I was tiling this, you know, the tile can account for any kind of funny business because you're doing a custom wall basically. I don't know how much of a 90-degree corner that is. I don't think that's going to matter because those sidewalls have a little bit of play this way, but you don't have any play in the fact that this stuff is made square. So if your openings, if this wall is out of plumb and this is level, the top of the surround is hanging off the wall up here, so there's nothing to attach that flange to that the drywall goes over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all this blocking and this weird framing business in here, and I'm going to sister on some 2x4s and then pull the 2x4 out on each one of these to level the wall. Then that's going to create the problem of this drywall is not going to transition into it smoothly. And I know you tiling people are probably really thinking about the tile. I should have just tiled it, but we'll go back to I didn't want to. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to put, at some point there's going to be a piece of trim that's going to just be a vertical piece of trim that sort of puts a visual break in the drywall, and then, you know, however I have to do this to get this stuff remedied. I think that is it. We are ready to go. Everything is prepped. This is what everything is looking like. So flush at the bottom, and then probably 3/4 out at the top. Such a shame that I did this. Otherwise, what I would have done is I would have just done this to each one of the studs across this bathroom wall, and then that window would have been flush with the outside. You just wouldn't have known it was going on, and then you wouldn't end up with this little jogged out spot here. I'm gonna come up with some sort of creative way to make that not look horrific. It's probably enough to where if I did some sort of drywalling, kind of taper it out, and then keep in mind there's gonna be a trim that goes around this, I bet it would be enough to disguise it, I don't know. But I might just put some sort of piece of trim that just runs straight down the wall there that just sort of covers that up, and it would just be a random looking piece of trim on the wall, but I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. So what I've done here is the ledger again is adjusted. I've made sure that I am level this way, it's level that way, and then that I'm level like this here and here, and then I'm doing that because I have this shim here. So that shim has marks on it, and so the tub is gonna have to just be lifted straight up out of the way, and I'm gonna just kind of block it up, and then I'm gonna go into there and do blobs of mortar. You can see I'm marked out here and here. That's that inside of the tub. So basically the mortar bed will start here, go across, and then from the face of this tub, 8 inches in, it starts here, and then 4 inches off the back wall. So I will put that down. I'm going to put something on the floor. The mortar goes on top of that, and then I'll put something over the mortar, probably just plastic, and set the tub on that. And that'll keep it all just to where nothing sticks together, but it's there. The tub is bedded in the mortar. Hope I did a good enough job. It took me 3 attempts, so that first try was just for the camera. Then the second 2 were me getting it closer and closer, and I hope I got it right. You're up about 3/4 on that right-hand side where the shim is. So, and then what I did is I went to each corner and pressed down, and I ran a screw in just over top of it, and then made it to where the conical head would kind of squeeze down on it, so it's held down nice and tight into that mortar. And then what I'm gonna do is once it's set, I'm gonna come back in and snug some plastic shims up, kind of series of them across, and those will get flush cut, and the flooring will go on, or a trim strip will go over it to hide that little gap. bathroom. Got mostly drywalled in. So the only reason I'm here right now is I just slipped up here to get my track for my track saw. Left it here accidentally working on some tables and benches. While I was here, I didn't want to only come here for one thing. So I wanted to go ahead and get the shower surround mounted. And that's all I was going to do, just get that screwed in. But I went ahead and tossed that drywall in. And I'm going to do a teensy bit more thinking on how I'm going to address that spot there and how that's going to blend out into the wall or either have a piece of trim. I wanted to mud this in real quick, get my corners, that just initial mudding, but I don't want to fool with it. It's more important for me to get home and do a little woodworking out in the yard today. So this is what you get. End of video. I'll do some, sorry I'm panting so much. I've been running around putting all my stuff away real quick. This is good news. Listen to this. Solid as a rock. And it feels like I'm just stepping on the floor. It actually feels more solid than that. No squeaking. Zero squeaking from the cement bed or mortar bed, which I'll be honest, it was one of those things I was like, I don't want to do that. It'll be all right. I'm glad I did it. I think it's a good way to go about it. Very solid. It was just the idea of doing it. I don't know. I didn't want to do it, but it worked out nice. Yeah, so the drywall kind of flew up pretty quick. Today was fast. This is what I like. I mean, that's why I like that. That was up so quick. Just had to do that preparation. But if I would have done that right, this would have been nothing. Very glad I did this versus the beautiful tile job I would have done. But I like the surround. I think it'll be easy to keep clean. Now, this was made for a specific bathtub, so it's kind of raised up a little higher. It's got these tabs that lock into the tub that it would go into. So it's supposed to be caulkless, but the way it's designed here and here, it wouldn't be caulkless with this bathtub, so that's gonna get siliconed around there. And then I'm gonna silicone that joint as well, because if water was to go into that caulkless joint and then go down and I caulked it, it would trap it in behind it. Then it would find its way over here and then run down through into the wall. So the whole thing is gonna get caulked, what I would consider normally. But yeah, that's it. In that last video, my apologies if I bummed y'all out. Let me get into a well-lit position. My apologies if I bummed y'all out talking about the hardships of renovating a house like this that drags on and on. I don't want to say ignore it, but my whole point in saying that was just, that's just the way it is for me right now. I don't want to say it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. My motivation, I wouldn't ever quit working on a house like this and sell it, or even fix it, then sell it, because once it's fixed, then the problem's over. And I wouldn't sell it before it's fixed up. That would be a crazy failure, in my opinion. It's just the way it is. Pretty much everyone that I know that works full time, they don't like their job. Friday, they get home, they're tired. Saturday, they scramble around trying to make the most of it. And then Sunday, they're really anxious about having to go to work the next day. And then they repeat. And so I don't think a lot of people would look at a guy that has a full-time job and a family and all kinds of other responsibilities and say, hey man, your job looks tough. You ought to quit and get a job at 7-Eleven, take it easy for a little bit. Well, he would end up screwed if he did that. I apologize for the language. But so it's the same thing for me. Now, of course, I've got the option of selling a house and making a bunch of money off of it and making the next renovation easier. But my goal is to get rentals. And so selling one is just not the way to go for me. The more and more I build up, the easier it's gonna get. Focus back on the channel, get that YouTube income back up. Again, I guess what I'm saying is people are just being nice most of the time in the comments, just saying, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. This is, in my opinion, just a normal thing to be going through. I'm a father, married, responsibilities. I've got cars with insurance and houses all over the place with insurance, payments on all kinds of stuff that you have payments on. So it's just a normal part of things. I am no different than anyone else, except a certain amount of people don't make money the way I make it. But there's plenty of people who do this type of stuff. So it's all within the realm of normal. And my motivation is just to get past that. And then once it's past that, I'm not like hyper motivated by the extra $1,000 I'll make a month. I'm more motivated by just not having to work on the house anymore. and just having that resolved and being done with it. And then, you know, unfortunately moving on to the next one. But that's okay too. It's a great fortune as well. So that's all I got to say about that. All I'm saying is you don't need to worry too much. I am not saying it to worry anyone or make anybody feel sorry for me. It's just the thoughts that go into it. I think it probably would be best just to smile, play fun music, and say everything's going great. But it's been going on for 4 years. Other houses, it's got all kinds of stuff. Of course, I'd rather be, you know, happily and richly retired, but most people would. What I do beats the way I feel, how I would feel if I had a normal job every day. That would tear me to pieces. If every once in a while I get a little blue by how much I have to do, I'm fine with that. The past 2 days I've spent outside in perfect weather, burned a huge brush pile that I had with a bunch of sawmill scraps, and been working on a table order and playing with the children and just having a normal, nice time. So that was just in the middle of the week, all day long, 2 full days. Then I zipped up here today, did a little bit, and I'll zip back home and continue on with that. And tomorrow is a normal Sunday, and then I'll probably be back here going full time next week. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Cheap houses, how I find and buy inexpensive real estate, explanation of how I get houses like this and the other ones I've gotten. Check the description below. I have all kinds of links, including the Patreon page as well, where you can make monthly contributions if that pleases you, and towards the YouTube channel. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.